Hey guys, CJ with Georgia Astronomy, and as a follow-up to the Radian Raptor video that I just put out, this is just a short video just to show you what the first and second light was with the Raptor. So the Radian is paired up with a 183 Pro, ZWO, obviously ASI mono, and on this particular image here, which is the Soul Nebula, this is done with an Optolong HA filter. This is a 12 nanometer filter. This is strictly just raw data that's in FITS files. I just stacked it as all I did. So there are no there's no calibration frames in here. There's no darks, there's no lights. So obviously you'll see the amp glow over here on the right hand side. But this was 14 subs at 600 seconds each. So if we get in on it a little bit, number one, I've got good tight stars. That's not really significant so much of the scope as it is of good guiding. However, obviously it's decent optics are on it. I'm not seeing a whole lot of issues with halos as a result, but here again, that's not typically an issue with the scope. That's typically your filters or camera. However, overall, I think it pairs well, in my opinion. Definitely a lot of depth and detail that was picked up by it, especially down here in the subsection with the darker areas, which are more prominent. Came out very, very nice. So, again, the Soul Nebula, this was with Optolong HA filters, 14 subs, 600 seconds each. And then the other one I shot, excuse me, this, again, this is raw data. This is just stacked. There are no calibration frames, so there's no flats, no biases, no darks, nothing like that. This is the Horsehead, the beginning of the Horsehead. Now, this was shot with the ASI 183, of course. However, this time I was using Antlia filters. They're kind of new on the market. They just kind of came out. And this is the LRGB set that I'm using. So one of the things that I have heard about these filters, number one, they were cheaper than Bader's. Number two, supposedly they have a coating on them, or there's something about the filter itself that limits light pollution coming in, probably better than others will. So this is just the Lume filter, which I tried to shoot a little bit more data this past weekend. I wound up going to the Soul Nebula because the moon was so bright it was washing out my photos. But yeah, so this is the Lume. Once again, it looks really good. Stars are pretty decent, not really any halo effect that I can tell of or that I can see. Good detail. So all in all, I think the Radian Raptor does a really good job. I mean, typically any good triplet refractor is going to do a good job for you. If you're curious about the corners, because usually everybody is, obviously if you look into the corners here and you can tell if whether or not you have any streaking or if you have flat field. In this particular case, it is flat field. Maybe just a little bit, ever so slightly. And honestly, that could be from the fact that I'm like 1 millimeter off, literally like 1 millimeter off from the 55. So with the filter in place, it should be probably closer to 56 millimeters of back focus. But yeah, I'm not. It's right at 55. So same thing. If we go back and we look over at the Soul Nebula, we can tell up here in the upper corners. Of course, I have not cropped this either, so we're going to get some little bit of bleed over on the edges, but same thing, good round stars, flat field. So the flattener works fine in conjunction with the telescope itself. No complaints. I think it does a good job. I don't know that I'm going to find really anything to say that's bad about it. It's a good scope. Very much in line with the 80 millimeter I used to have several years back with the Stellar View, which is basically my only comparison for wide field scopes that I've had, not including the Rasa, of course. And the Rasa was 400 millimeters of focal length, so a little bit different. But yeah, there you go. There's proof that the scope works, and it works pretty well. The focuser worked very well. Is also, once I've kind of figured out how to actually get that thing installed and working, once I did, works fine. And when I found my correct settings in Nina, it worked fine. So I'll do a video on that next clear night that I have. I'll do a complete setup on Nina. A couple of you have already asked about that. So that I will get done at some point here, hopefully within the near future. So with that, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. More than welcome. Put some comments down below there of what you think of the photos so far and what you think of the Radian Raptor so far. If you have not had a chance yet to like and subscribe, please do so now. Give a little thumbs up for the video if you've liked this and you'd like to see more of the kind of the same. And with that, I am CJ, and you are watching Georgia Astronomy.